Do you guys want to know how much I made in May 2024 as a self-published author with 2 books out? Hi, my name is Lindsay Elizabeth and I am an indie self-published author currently with 2 books out. I've been coming online every single month to share my journey of how much I make and how many sales that led to the royalties, along with sharing some marketing tips for my fellow indie authors or just content creators. You don't have to be an indie author to take value out of these marketing tips, but I will have timestamps linked below if you want to skip to whatever your favorite part might be. Just as a little disclaimer, I do this every single month, not to brag or to get pity depending on which end of the spectrum you're on. I just wanted to kind of throw my numbers into the ring so that newer authors can kind of see what to expect and just to bring more transparency into the publishing world, because when I started publishing in January 2023, I literally had no idea if I was going to make like $2 or like $10,000, and honestly there are people making both of that in a single month. So this is just my experience for you to enjoy. To give you a little bit of backstory about my books, they are part of an interconnected series. So the first 2 books are kind of interconnected. They follow different characters, and then the 3rd book will tie them together. They're in a series called The Kingdoms of Keros. So they are behind me. The first one is called Kingdom of Ash and Shadow, and the second one is called Kingdom of Shadow and Ice. And yes, I know that the titles kind of interbleed together. And the 3rd book will be called Kingdom of Ice and Nightmares. So the stories are interconnected, the titles are interconnected. It's a fun ride. A little bit of a tongue twister though, I'm not gonna lie. But if you like dark fantasy and you like romance, you like the plot, you like the spice, Kingdom of Ash and Shadow is the first book in the series, and it follows a Morley Grey firebending king who forcibly marries the enemy's sheltered waterbending princess. Kel is the Morley Grey firebending king, Rosalie is the sheltered waterbending princess. Don't worry, they're both adults. They're like, she's 26, he's like 30. Since it is a romance and there are adult themes in said romance, they are adults doing adult things. So that's linked below if you want to check it out. As far as how I get sales on my books, I do not run any paid ads. I pretty much only do organic social media marketing. And I do have a video coming out very soon on my marketing strategy, like my entire marketing strategy, what I do, what I don't do, what I recommend people do. That will be coming out soon. I will link it below once it's out. But knowing that, we can get into the sales numbers. If you don't want to hear the sales numbers and you just want to skip to the marketing tips, because I know it can be hard for indie authors to kind of compare ourselves, feel free to do that. I will not be offended. So I publish my books entirely through Kindle Direct Publishing, which is called KDP, and my books are also enrolled in Kindle Unlimited, so I get paid for orders through KDP and pages read through Kindle Unlimited, which is like a shared library. So let's get into those numbers. In the month of May, I had 14 total orders between the 2 books out. 12 were for the first book, Kingdom of Ash and Shadow, and the other 2 were for Kingdom of Shadow and Ice, the second book. If we want to break it down even further, it looks like the digital, so ebooks, were 10 for Kingdom of Ash and Shadow, which leaves 2 print books, and for Kingdom of Shadow and Ice, the second book, it was 1 of each, so it was 1 ebook and 1 print book. So that equaled 14 total orders, and let's get on to the pages read. So in May, I had 38,520 pages read, which sounds like a really big number, but we can break it down between the books. 36,140 pages read were for Kingdom of Ash and Shadow, and the remaining 2,380 were for Kingdom of Shadow and Ice. So as you can see, the first book is definitely the major lead magnet. It's the one that people pick up the most. And Amazon doesn't really give you any information as to what the read-through rate is, if it's 23,000 people reading 1 page or if it's however many people reading the entire book. So it's kind of hard to know what's working that way, but it is still kind of intriguing to know those numbers. And then there are also standard pages for Kindle formatting. So based on the standard pages, here is the math on roughly like how many books that would have been for each of the 2 books. If you just wanted to hear how much money I made in the month of May as an indie author with 2 books out, the final royalty came to $199.41. So there is that royalty number. This was actually really interesting to me because May felt so slow. It felt like it was crawling by. It felt like every single day I checked my numbers, it was like maybe $1 or $2, but obviously it added up. So I kind of also wanted to do a comparison on what this May looked like versus last May 2023, since now I'm starting to get more numbers and data to compare. So last year in May 2023, it was actually my lowest selling month out of the entire year, and I made $67.46. So it's really interesting to see that not only was I well over double that number the next year, but also that having a second book out that wasn't really the reason that it jumped so much. It was really just a lot more people finding the first book. So I think that's really intriguing, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments. So for this year, May was fairly average to kind of a steady number that I've been seeing. I'm usually between like $150 and maybe $250 every single month. Basically, as soon as I hit $100, I'm like, okay, my expenses are covered, because I use Adobe products and I just use that as like a business expense so that I can do my own book covers and formatting and basically everything marketing wise, because I do it all myself. So basically, once I hit $100, I'm like, okay, I've paid for the Adobe and I have a little bit left over in my account and I can kind of save up a little bit. But May compared to the last couple of months, so in April I made $196, so that is like almost right on par. It's literally, I made like $3 more, but it felt so much slower. I don't know how to explain that. It's so strange. Maybe it felt slower because in March I made almost $500. That was a wild ride. I've never made that much before and I have not yet made it since. I mean, it's only been a couple of months, so I'm not like chomping at the bit. I mean, it's really cool, but that seems to be an anomaly so far. I do also want to look at the Kindle Unlimited pages read and see maybe like if there's a trend on which days of the week or something like that, that the pages spiked and that I got the most page views. I don't want to capture. I'm illiterate apparently. Oh my gosh. Close that. We're screen recording now. Okay, so we're gonna look at this together and just look at the big spikes and the low dips, the highest numbers and lowest. So first of the month, May 1st, was a Wednesday, and that was a pretty good day. And then it looks like the next best day was May 8th, which was also a Wednesday. Ooh, we're getting somewhere already. And then it dipped down on the 11th, which was a Saturday. Weekends seem to be fairly slow. The 18th was also a Saturday. So ironically enough, when people have time to read, they aren't reading my books. I don't know what to tell you. Weekends are usually pretty slow for me, but that is pretty interesting, actually, that it was both like Saturdays were the slowest days of the month. But if we look at some of these bigger numbers, May 23rd was a Thursday, so I think people really like reading in the middle of the week. I don't know. That's so interesting to me. Wednesdays, Thursdays. I'm trying to think about days that I like to read, and I don't think about it like day of the week. I'm just like, when do I have time? I don't know. And then there was like a dip here on the 26th. That was a Sunday, so another weekend. We're checking it out. It's making a little sense. I don't know. And then 28th was a Tuesday, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Interesting. Very interesting. Let me know your theories about this down in the comments, because I'm intrigued that middle of the week is better for pages read for me and the weekends are not. I think maybe it's because it's May and it's getting nice out and people want to like go do stuff on the weekends. I live in the Midwest, and so when it's nice out, you are outside. I just think that's so intriguing. Glad we could look at this data together, guys. Welcome to the section where we go through a few little marketing tips. I'm also going to be doing a video more in depth about my like Q2 social media marketing insights, tips, tricks, things I've just noticed. So that will be coming at the end of June / early July, depending on when I get around to recording it. But that will have a lot more marketing tips and tricks along with my indie author marketing strategy video. That will have a lot more marketing tips and tricks. So I'm going to be putting out a lot of marketing content lately, so I hope you enjoy that. But if you came for a few marketing tips, here they are. One of my first ones is, it sounds like a broken record, but it's to be consistent. Like I said, May felt really slow, and I think it was, aside from that first day like we saw in the data, it was kind of a slow start and it was pretty like evenly low. It can be kind of discouraging when you're not really seeing payout for your efforts of marketing and putting out content and trying to reach the right people. But so really you just have to be consistent. Another marketing tip sort of is, if you're an author, work on your backlist. If you're a business owner, work on your product offerings. Basically, if you are offering a good or service and you only have one good or service, it's very hard to scale that and make more money. As you saw, the second book in my series does not make that much money compared to the first book, but I do have a feeling that once the third book is out and it's more of a completed trilogy, it will have a better like read-through rate, just because people like a finished series and they like being able to binge things. But if you're an author and you're marketing and you have one book out, somebody's gonna read that book and then they have nothing else to do with you. You've provided the one service you offered and they can't really buy it again unless they do. But most people don't buy books twice unless it's like an ebook and a paperback. So if you're a debut author and you're struggling with marketing, keep writing, keep working on your backlist, keep talking about your book, keep building a community, but make sure that you have other things you can offer later down the line. I have actually been spending a lot more time writing in May than I did marketing, I think. I slowed down a bit on marketing. I'm just really trying to get this third book done. It's been a wild ride. So Kingdom of Ice and Nightmares hopefully coming late 2024. The other big marketing tip I have is if you're making video content, to actually script your video content, or at the very least have bullet points of what you want to talk about. I see a lot of people that, we make fun of video content now with like the millennial pause. I'm a millennial, hi. Or I see a bunch of people who are talking to the camera and they're just basically saying nothing until like 30 seconds in, and then they get to the point that they want to say and they actually have energy and they're enthusiastic about it. And you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. You're walking around and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, my hair's a mess and I didn't put my makeup on and blah, blah, blah. Do a little editing. It doesn't take that much time. It takes a couple minutes, but just make sure your videos are like a little bit polished, but still authentic and still you. Cut out those dead silences. Cut out the rambling. Cut out the things that don't really make sense for what you're actually trying to say. And then I just have like a couple really, really quick like FYIs that I didn't know. On TikTok, when you make a video reply to a comment, if you delete the comment itself, your video reply still exists. But on Instagram, that is not the case. I did not know that. So that was just a learning surprise. It's gone. Okay. The other thing is, I wish somebody had told me this like the second this came out, is that you can now link your Instagram to your Pinterest, and anything you post on Instagram can go to Pinterest. You do it in the Pinterest settings and you go to Pinterest, settings, claimed accounts, and then you just link your correct Instagram account to your Pinterest. It backlogged the last 90 days of Instagram content onto Pinterest, which is amazing because then I didn't have to go and get a plugin and like manually enter in all this information, or I didn't have to do anything really. It just like back cataloged 90 days worth of content onto Pinterest. You might have to go in and update the title, the alt text, or like any links, stuff like that if you really want to be found for a certain key phrase or keyword. But other than that, like your content is there with the caption in the description and it's amazing. I wanted to do this eventually, but Pinterest just made it so much easier. Go do it. Go do it right now. All right. Thank you for watching. If any of this was helpful or you want to see anything more about a certain topic, please let me know in the comments because I'm still kind of new at YouTube and I just want to know what you guys want to see. Thanks for watching. Bye.